Hello and welcome to the summer edition of World Civilizations 2. My name is Ken. I will be your instructor over the next 10 weeks, or as I like to think of myself, sort of a tour guide. I will be leading you on a tour through this thing we call history. This is going to be a very short introductory video, basically going to hit some of the highlights of the syllabus. You guys can all read. I hope you can. If you can't, you're going to struggle in this course, but you guys can go over the syllabus on your own time, read everything about it, and again, today I'm just going to go over a few of the things that might need some explanation, mainly the grading format, which is I know, the most important thing to students, how you will be graded. As you can see, we're looking at the syllabus for World Civilizations 2. This, again, I'm not going to go over everything, but just know that this course does start in the pre-modern period, so we're talking around the year 1300, 1400 AD, roughly 700 years ago, and we'll be going all the way up into really just past World War II in the 1940s. So this course takes up a lot of stuff. Obviously, this is a pretty big world, and we've had quite a bit of history. I'll do my best to make it interesting. I think it's a very good course, and I think you will enjoy it. More on that in just a few minutes, but number one, the thing you should probably know is that World Civ 1 is not a prerequisite. It might help to have some historical context if you did take World Civ 1, but if you didn't, that's not a problem at all. You'll have no problem doing well in this course. The textbook, as you can see here, I've already had a few students email me asking about this, and yes, the book is required. I used earlier an analogy of this being me being a tour guide. Well, using that analogy, that the textbook is sort of the roadmap. The textbook will keep us sort of grounded, keep us all together. Obviously, again, with this being such a huge a class dealing with a huge segment of history of the world, it could be kind of easy to get off track, but the textbook will keep us on course, and again, sort of keep us grounded. So, and a lot of the assignments that you guys will be doing will require that you read some of these chapters. So definitely, it's not recommended reading, it is required. You probably cannot pass this course. Well, there's no probably to it. You can't pass this course without the textbook, so you do have to get it. A word on that: you do not have to get a brand new edition of this book. A lot of times, in order to get the access code, you would have to have a new book, but we're not going to be using this access code, and that's for their website. A lot of courses do that. I do not. So if you can find a cheaper used version of it, go for it. I highly recommend you do so. You do not need that access code that only comes with the new editions of the book. It is written by a fellow named Spodek. It's the world's history. You can find it in the bookstore. You probably already have. If not, go ahead and get it as soon as possible, as we will be using it in the next few days. Again, my name is Ken. You can get information here, how to contact me. Here's my email address, krsmith@gtcc.edu. My telephone number. You can text me, call me if you need to. You can also contact me via Blackboard.im. Later in the week, I'm going to post sort of a tutorial video showing how to use Moodle. I understand a lot of you guys, this might be your first class at GTCC, not used to Moodle. I will show you around, help you, show you how to upload documents, how to take part in some of the other things we'll be doing on there. So telephone, email, Blackboard.im. I'll show you how to download this if you want to. Those are just a few ways to contact me. I do not keep regular office hours on campus during the summer, so if you do need to contact me, or if you want to meet with me in person and discuss an issue you might be having, I will certainly do that. I will just it'll have to be by an appointment, so just contact me and let me know when you'd like to meet with me. Beginning dates of this course, obviously, that is today. The withdrawal date for the summer is July 5th. I'll talk about that in just a moment. 10-week class. Obviously, we're meeting online, and our meeting locations are online. I do want to talk real quick about these student learning outcomes if you're not familiar with them. Gone are the days where you simply have a final average and you either pass or you don't, depending on what that average is. Now you have to satisfy each of these six, at least in history, each of these six student learning outcomes. Some of them are pretty specific. As you can see with the first one, this is Jared Diamond and his theory on how the world got to be where it is today as far as having countries that are haves and countries that are have-nots. How did the spread of wealth, how's that happened? He has a pretty good theory on that, and we'll learn more about that later, but some of them are much more random. Analyze global warfare and outcomes of warfare. It is my responsibility to make sure that you have ample opportunity to satisfy each of these six, and the assignments we'll be doing throughout the course are all geared towards this, so we'll talk more about that later on. Don't worry too much about those. It'll sort of take care of itself. Again, these are some of the things that I'm not going to go over right now. Some of them don't even really apply to us. Obviously, tobacco free. We do not meet face to face in a classroom, so tobacco isn't a problem for us. Neither is dress. I don't care what you are wearing while you're sitting in front of your computer doing the work. Trust me, you don't want to know what I'm wearing while I'm sitting here. So again, doesn't really apply to us, so we're not going to be too concerned with that. Respect, obviously, that will apply to us. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Absences are a major thing in here. Even though we are not meeting face to face, it is still possible to be absent from this course, and that is through the online forums. We'll have a message board basically set up inside of Moodle. After an assignment, you will be expected to just leave a comment, something you found interesting about it, or if you have a question about the material that was covered in that assignment. This is your way of saying that yes, you are here and that you are participating in what's going on in the course. I will talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. If you have this ADA statement is important. If you have some sort of disability, whether that be hearing, sight, let me know as soon as possible, and I can go ahead and make the required accommodations for you. Inclement weather, I don't think that'll be a problem for us either. We do have an attendance policy, and I will come back to that. Let's get to again, withdrawal policy. Make sure if you do withdraw from the course, just don't stop showing up in Moodle. Make sure you actually go down to the registrar's office and fill out the required documents to withdraw, and that just ensures that you can get a W rather than an F. If you just stop showing up, unfortunately, you're going to end up with this F. July 5th is the last day that you can withdraw from the class and ensure that you get a W as opposed to an F. So let's talk about the grading policy, because again, I know this is what you guys are really interested in. This is how your grade will be comprised. We're going to have 3 exams. Obviously, they will all 3 be on Moodle. We're going to have lots of quizzes and assignments, which comprise 50% of your grade, and then there's 20% of participation. Let's talk about the quizzes and assignments real quick. Basically, how this is all going to work: each week you will have a couple of assignments to do. They might be watching a documentary, a video about an historic event. They might be reading. I will assign that you read pages so-and-so to so-and-so, or they might be a lecture, kind of like we're doing right now, where I will create a video and I will lecture about a certain event, and you will simply answer some questions as you go along. Those questions you will then turn in to me through Moodle. I will show you how to upload later on, and you'll also have, at that point, I will open up a discussion forum, and so that's where you can leave that comment I was talking about earlier, or a good question, something like that. Don't just repeat what someone else has already said. That will get you nowhere. Make sure it's somewhat well thought out. These assignments, again, there will be probably no more than 2 per week. If they're smaller assignments, there might be 3, but you'll have plenty of advance notice. I will not put up an assignment and require that you do it within the next 12 hours or anything like that. You'll have at least 4 to 8 hours before the due date, so we should be fine there. These 3 exams, the final exam will not be cumulative, meaning it will not be covering everything that we've done. These exams are usually, well, you can figure out the math, right? We've got about 10 weeks, 3 exams, so we'll try to have one maybe every 3 weeks or so. They only comprise 30% of your grade, and I did that for a reason. Obviously, you've got access to your notes while you're taking these exams, so we're not going to make them weigh so much on your grade. And I can tell you, hey, don't use your notes on these exams, but of course, I'm not naive. I know you will anyway, just like I would have when I was a student. Participation. This is a pretty big one here. This gets us back to the attendance that I was talking about earlier. The Obviously you don't come to class, so there's no way for me to take roll and find out if you're here. This is our attendance. It will be these online forums. You get two basically absences, and absence is defined as not leaving a comment on this online forum about one of the assignments that we do. If you do not, then after you get two free, after that it starts deducting from your final average in this class. So if you have, say, 96 is your final average, but you've missed 8 assignments, 2 are free, which leaves 6. So those other 6 multiplied times 2 is 12, so you would take 12 from your final average of 96, and I'm not very good at math, but I think that would be somewhere around 88, I believe. At any rate, you can understand how these online forums are very important for as far as attendance goes, letting me know that you are here and participating. The other way these online forums can affect your grade is you actually have a participation grade here, it comprises 20%. It's a pretty big deal. You basically start with a grade of 100 in this participation category. For each time you miss a discussion forum, you will be deducted 2 points. And so if you miss 10, obviously you multiply that times 2 and you have an 80. Here, the example I used, if you miss 10 forums, your participation grade would be a 90. And I'm looking now, and it seems as if my math is wrong. I told you guys I was not a very good mathematician. 2 points deducted, so if you miss 10, we should multiply that times 2, so your final grade would be 80 in participation. So I'm sorry, I will correct that before I post it on Moodle. And again, these comments, make sure that there are some thought attached to it. Again, don't just repeat what somebody else has already said. You can start your own topic, or you can simply reply to something someone else has said, just to sort of get the ball rolling. I will always put a few questions at the top just to get you thinking about this event. And it sounds much more complicated than it really is, as you'll see once we do this a few times in Moodle. You'll see how it's a very easy process, and you shouldn't have any problem whatsoever. If you have any questions at this point about the syllabus, any of these other things, again, don't hesitate to contact me either through email or text. I think I've pretty much covered what I'm going to as far as the syllabus is concerned. I know it seems kind of strange with these online forums and all, but it's really not difficult at all. You'll get the hang of it in no time. If you took this online class, because you thought that you would not have to do much work, well, I'm sorry, you were mistaken, which is cool. Everybody makes mistakes from time to time, right? I think I made one back in 3rd grade, I think it was. We always make mistakes. Anyway, if you want to learn and you're not allergic to actually doing reading and watching documentaries, things like that, you will do just fine. I think you will very much enjoy this course, and I assure you will certainly learn something. So I'm going to go ahead and get this video posted up into Moodle. Again, any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And we should have it. It is sort of 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. I'm hoping to have this up. Shouldn't be any later than 7 or 7:30. So I will see you guys on Moodle, and well, I'll see you then. Bye bye. I said bye bye.